Timraha hula vanavushak Taifshi agus ulaveist. That's how is every witch, ghost, and monster. Over the weeks coming up to Samhain or Halloween, we will be telling the stories of witches, vampires, monsters, and all things that creep around this time of year when the veil between this world, and the other world is lifted. So sit back and enjoy the great Celtic music as always, learn some Gaelic, but prepare to be scared. Here is a few Gaelic words to help you with your Halloween or Oiche Samhain. Witch, Bana Vushak. Wizard, Fushak. Ghost, Taifshi. Apple, Ul. Nut, Crow. Lantern, Lantar. Mask, Odenin. Monster, Ulaveist. Owl, Kalak Oiche. Bat, Yaltak. Pumpkin, Peapack. And turnip, Tunip. Alright, enjoy.
Pale was the wounded knight that bore the rowan shield. Loud and cruel were the ravens' cries that feasted on the field, saying, "Backwater cold and clear will never clean your wound. There's none but the witch of the Westmoreland can make thee hale and soon." So turn your stallion's head till his red mane flies in the wind, and the rider of the moon goes by and the bright star falls behind. And clear was the pale moon when his shadow passed him by. Below the hills were the brightest stars when he heard the howling cry, saying, "Why do you ride this way? And wherefore came you here? I seek the witch of the Westmoreland that dwells by the winding mere, and it's weary by the Olds water, and the misty brake far away, till through the cleft and the Kirkstane pass the winding water lay." He said, "Lie down by brindled hound, and rest ye, my good grey hawk, and thee, my steed, may graze thy fill, for I must dismount and walk. But come when ye hear my horn, and answer swift the call, for fear the sun will rise this morn, you will serve me best of all." And it's down to the water's brim he's borne the rowan shield, and the golden rod he has cast in to see what the lake might yield. And wet she rose from the lake, and fast and flee when she would have the form of the maiden fair with a jet black bear's body. Shrill he blew till his steed was by his side. High overhead the grey hawk flew, and swiftly did he ride, saying, "Course well, my brindle hound, and fetch me the jet black mare. Stoop and strike my good grey hawk, and bring me the maiden fair. She said, pray sheath thy silvery sword, lay down thy rowan shield, for I see by the briny blood that flows you've been wounded in the field. And she stood in a gown of the velvet blue, bound round by a silver chain, and she's kissed his pale lips once and twice, and 3 times round again. She's bound his wounds with a golden rod, full fast in her arms he lay, and he has risen hale and sound with the sun high in the day. She said, ride with your brindled hound at heel, and your good grey hawk in hand. There's none can harm the knight who's lain with the witch of the Westmoreland.
Learn the history of Gaelic songs as you learn to sing them. Gaelic and English lyrics are provided to give you a deeper understanding of the song, to guide you when you're learning, or just sit back and enjoy these beautiful songs. Welcome to Learn a Gaelic Song by Olde Scot the Celtic podcast. Today's song is Skelking by Julie Fowlis. Alright, remember that the Gaelic is at the top of the screen and the English is at the bottom. So get ready and enjoy.
Bimihina Gaidhlig, Bimihina Gaidhlig, Bimihina Gaidhlig, gaan I dra voor greu. Katalkierach Molduran, Katalkierach Molduran, Katalkierach Molduran, Bimihin Gaidhlig, Katalkierach Molduran.
Scottish Gaelic is native to the Gaels of Scotland. Scottish Gaelic developed out of the Old Irish, and learning this beautiful language can be a direct link to your Gaelic ancestors. Follow along in Feuchamaich Beagan Gaidhlig, and like I said, let's try a little Gaelic. Fauchagu ye Olde Scots, the beginner's Gaelic course. Kimraha Huladunya, how is everyone? Looky there, you already know how to say welcome to and how is everyone. Alright, in the next 25 lessons of Feuchamaich Beagan Gaidhlig, that's Let's Try a Little Gaelic, with a little work you can gain a rudimentary understanding of the Scottish Gaelic language. Now, these lessons were taken from my weekly podcast beginning back on May 15th of 2020, so if you like you can listen to them there as well. But please remember that I am not an authority on the Gaelic language. I just love learning it. I struggle like most all learners, and so what I teach comes right from well-respected Gaelic teachers. I hope you find it interesting, informative, and fun, and as always, I display on the screen what I'm discussing so you can follow along. Alright, Kersh Maha, which means, alright then, let's get started. Lesson 5. And as always, I'll display on the screen what I am discussing. Now, we're going to talk about some basic prepositions, and the first prepositional pronoun, ek. Now, there are some basic prepositions which can be used to discuss where somebody might be. And the first one is on, or ounce, which is in. Now, if you wanted to use ounce in a sentence, it'd be like ounce the car, in the car. And if you want to use it with the indefinite article, oun boxa, in a box, or the definite article, ounce of voxa, in the box. Alright. That's kind of how I'm going to do this. So, next one is air, which means on, and use that in a sentence. Air lavord, on the table. Alright, indefinite article, air broke, on a shoe, or the definite article, air avroke, on the shoe. Alright, the next one is ek, which means at. Alright, use it in a sentence. Akahu, at the dog, and the indefinite article, achrat, at a road, or the definite article, acharat, at the road. Alright, the next one is phone, which is under. Phonachora, under the sheep. The indefinite article is phokriv, under a tree, or the definite article, phone achriv, under the tree. Alright. Now, Gaelic does not have a verb to have. So in Gaelic, the preposition ek, at, is one way to indicate possession. For example, Ha car ach Mari. A car is at Mary. And Nachach ach Ian. The cats are at Ian. Now, whenever pronouns are used together with prepositions, special combination words are used. Here are the prepositional pronouns for ek, which is at, remember, used here to indicate possession. All right. I'm going to put up a little diagram, and you'll be able to see how these prepositional pronouns are made. You start off with the pronoun me, u, a, e, shin, shiv, or it. You add ak, and then that gives you the prepositional pronoun. So me and ek becomes ekum, which means at me. U and ek put together is eket, means at you. A and ek, eka, at him. E and ek, eka, at her. Shin and ek, eken, at us. Shiv and ek, ekiv, at you, plural. And it and ek, eka, meaning at them. All right, for example, ha cat ekum, I have a cat. Avail cat eket, do you have a cat? And genial tai eka, he does not have a house. All right. I'm going to give you a little bit of vocabulary here. Adjectives, ard, which is tall or high, and wavasak, which is terrible or awful or very. It can actually be good or bad. You know, if you wanted to say it's hami wavasak ma, I am terribly good. I am very, very good. Okay, glay va means very good. Wavasak ma means very, very good. Okay, it's just like being emphatic about it. All right, adverbs. Cho is so. Ro is to or excessively. Then we have some conjunctions. Ak is but, and agus is and. All right, I got a couple sentences here, 6 of them, for you to translate into English. Number 1, Chanel kar ak morak. 2, Hakat agus ku akam. 3, Avail and tai akin. 4, Ha and tai cho he. 5, Ha ku akam snuk. 6, Nakael and tai ard.
Keep up the great work and look forward to lessons 6 through 10. Asking questions, numbers, and some useful vocabulary, answering questions, months, days, and telling time. All right.
Catcha gelcha dunne cod the rowan cod the rua. Na hele gachi chana kroich gelische cod the rua. Chan nach gemische ferder vodje die with course a chloi. Vacuul and trusgang lecholja omach the shechod the rua. Charo kocht en canap no fort the sound sa chod the ruach. Sound vaik jaartje mach a korn a beard the chloin en one. Smo vile bianach eket halad a chum se jaar sa guai. Sa jarave chart vi ede vjoud na dringen god the ruach. Hjuling ist voor een jarne lische gaat de roe. Eiche hies en aarts de manes, eiche barnes hoes. Charo talan scheint au nor an kleintje kjol not doen. Nach eich gygiad mo charage codan a hen sa god y rwa. Ach shimag mia vag hugu gas o hen sta god y rwa. Amach gach eich nooit bachar gav I sa chas nam hoi. Eter barnes bekies en years ma hoi. Skandagas me tjidach sharaf geleor jet hens de gaat de roer. Galafshing uiche ganda joost is galachshing stop it chluash. Skande heel shing gachi ider doi as lish na gol shing suas. Gegleintje mische tayang grot de galor ang loy. Swapoch de laun sa hule poch a vidder chod de roer. Hoeke vat na huisje gonach getraanjantje looi. Gan smuntje geged gol gan chos ach tolak gan man goord. Smikeestjach de sja chule skeel a chulas hies na hoos. Sa chule hun juet velver ek verre god de rooi. Ach gumme vat fallang bjelvis verre god de rooi. Gus isje skjoulen giden jarne du I charnen boer. Sma sjeske jikke kwartj gebrach en was daar in glooi. Gan schienen baart de lavle tjoun de jere god de rooi.
Celtic history brings you the tales of the land, castles, warriors, heroes, legends, and customs that have created the rich, vibrant, and sometimes strange and wonderful history of the Celtic world. We're talking about the Scottish island tradition of Skelking. Now, it's intriguing and unsettling, this Scottish island tradition of Skelking. As winter came along, the Skelkers moved from house to house, dancing around the fire and banging wooden staves on the floor in celebration of the supernatural. The tradition of Skelking was observed in Shetland for hundreds of years, with its roots in the Norse history of the islands. Skelkers dressed in a straw skirt called a gloy, a short straw cloak, and a tall pointed straw hat with the costumes woven together using family crops. Skelking, it was a pagan custom when people, during a time when people hoped their rituals would bring back the sun during the winter, and ensure good crops. That's according to the local customs. For hundreds of years, Skelkers went out on Halloween and over Yule, and even to some weddings on Shetland. Sometimes they were treated to a visit. Now, the cultural link to the Skelkers is 100% Scandinavian for sure. It's very similar to the seasonal masquerade observed in the Faroes, except they use seaweed instead of straw. But this tradition quickly took hold in Gaelic-speaking parts of Scotland, as they tend to have a grasp on the supernatural. Now, Skelking has nothing to do with the Scottish tradition of guising. The tradition
was to play out the part of supernatural beings, and you didn't reveal who was in the costumes. There was supposed to be a suspension of disbelief. Children aged between 8 and 15 would most likely take part in the tradition. The leader was called the Scuddler, with the other main characters known as the Grolic. A type of fearsome boogeyman character, the Grolic was, although the Grolic was to be feared once he appeared in a group. He wasn't anymore. He was just part of the pantheon of supernatural characters coming into your house to scare you to death, probably. Skelkers gathered around the fire, which would normally be in the center of the room, to dance. Quite often, the Skelkers would carry wooden staves, which they would rap on the floor. It's very ritualistic. And then when they spoke, they disguised their voices. They would speak while breathing in. So it kind of gave this weird, eerie feel, almost a non-human element to the home. A major element of the Skelker costume was the collection of foods. Traditionally, a sheepskin bag called the boogie that was traditionally used to hold grain would be passed around and food dropped in. People knew what the Skelkers wanted most, though, and that was, cooked meat. The tradition faded during the 19th century when islanders became more open to British customs and ways, and by the 1920s the custom was a shadow of its former self. Skelking was last observed, though, in Shetland on Yell in the 1970s, according to local accounts.
Murk and rainy is the nicht, there's no a star in nor the carry. Lightnings gleam athwart the lift, and winds drive on wi' winter's fury. Oh, are you sleeping, Maggie? Oh, are you sleeping, Maggie? Let me in, for loud the linn is rowing o'er the Warlock Craggy. Fearful socks the Burtree bank, the rifted wood roars wild and dreary. Loud the iron, yet the clank, and cry a hullet's Max Meary. Oh, are you sleeping, Maggie? Oh, are you sleeping, Maggie? Let me in, for loud the linn is rowing o'er the Warlock Craggy. Abune my breath I darna speak, for fear arouse your walker right daddy. Calls the blast upon my cheek. Oh rise, my bonny lady. Oh, are you sleeping, Maggie? Oh, are you sleeping, Maggie? Let me in, for loud the linn is rowing o'er the Warlock Craggy. She's let him in, he's cast aside his creeping plighty. Claw your worst, your rain and wind, since Maggie knew I'm in aside you. New since you're walking, Maggie, new since you're walking, Maggie. What care I for Hullet's cry, for Burtree bank or Warlock Craggy?
Everyday Celtic Ways brings you the mythology, traditions, and customs that have created a unique and personal culture that still affects those that are Celtic and those that just love the Celtic world.
The Dullahan by Jeff MacDonald. The Dullahan is known as the mythical headless horseman and the embodiment of the Celtic god Crom Dubh, a malevolent harbinger of death whose roots lie in a pact with Satan himself. He is said to be an earth-bound demigod who demands blood sacrifice in the form of decapitation. This headless rider roams the lands of Ireland looking for victims whose heads he intends to take, but no one knows why. It is rumored that the Dullahan was a soldier in his previous life and had his head taken from him in battle. Being a pious man who had turned from God, he made a pact with Satan. He would have to collect the souls in order to buy favor in hell and secure a place where he would not be tormented. Satan placed a curse that only can be broken by collecting a certain number of souls in order to buy favor in hell to secure his place. But Satan warned him that he had made this pact plenty of times before, and none had been able to complete it. The Dullahan rides in a black carriage pulled by 6 horses. It is said that these horses ride so quickly and ferociously that fire emanates from both their nostrils and their hooves as they strike the ground. The carriage that some believe he rides is made of old coffins, crumbling tombstones, and bones of rotting flesh, as it was made with whatever he could find near his burial place. He wears a long, tattered black cloak that flows behind him as he rides through the land, and he is known to hold his severed head rotting into the sky as a guide in search for the souls that he is destined to take. His severed head has a terrible appearance, covered in rotting flesh that gives off the strong odor of rotting cheese, and with a complexion of stale dough. The mouth is split into a terrifying grin as he finds joy in taking the lives of others. His eyes are lit up with an evil fire that dart back and forth, constantly looking for victims. No locked gate can stay closed when he approaches. They burst open to let the evil Dullahan through, and close on their own after he has finished. As he makes his way through the towns and villages after dark, the people hide behind their curtains. To look him in the eyes will immediately blind you, as he will whip out your eyes with his whip made from a human spine. He has the ability to speak only the name of the person whose life he wishes to take. But once the Dullahan states this name, that person hears it, their soul is drawn to appear to him, and there is no defying this call. The Dullahan is believed to appear after sunset on ancient feast days, which is when the people know to be most wary of looking outside after the sun has gone down. The only thing that can frighten or harm him is precious metal, which, when thrown on the ground before him, can cause him and his horses to suddenly stop in their path and turn and flee. Ireland during this time was a very poor country. Families weren't likely to possess gold, so he felt confident. Entering a small village of Glen Craig, he called upon his next victim, a young Irish girl. And when she appeared in front of him, he spoke her name again, but she did not come close to him. So he reached out with his whip made from a human spine, wrapped it quickly around her neck, and pulled the girl close to see what power this frail little girl possessed that would thwart his. He looked deep into her eyes, and she frighteningly looked back, shaking. He tried to call her name a 3rd time, but his curse would not allow it. As he looked around at the villagers staring at his inability, she pulled something from her pocket. She thrust a gold ring into the rotted flesh of his body, past his ribs and into his blackened heart. He reeled back and dropped the girl, Feeling the precious metal within him, he heard the laugh of Satan, mocking his failure ring out the village, echoing from house to house. Pain shot through his rotten body, and fire flicked from his wounds, sending to the ground in agony. Behind him, a dimensional rip opened. A large, ugly hellhound burst forth and dragged him into hell in an afterlife of torture and torment. As the rip began to close, Satan stepped forward, looked at the girl, smiled, and bowed in respect. You see, the girl could not go to the Dullahan, because she was deaf and never heard her name called, although she knew the legend. Everyone in Ireland knew the legend.
All right, special thank you for my friend David Duncan, who did the story reading and the voices, and did a great job. Go check him out on his YouTube channel, Dave Struction Duncan. He does all kinds of videos on there. You're going to love him.
Top 11 Heritage. Now remember to check out my YouTube channel. It's got Celtic music, podcasts, Gaelic language, Gaelic song, Celtic history videos, plus lots more. And my Facebook group where you can give me your inputs and insights on all things Celtic.
Goodbye, Apple Baby. Masha Weave.
Goodbye, everybody. But I'm going to let you go with a song.
and dark fjord, battling till his life he shed,
leaving the throne to the sons of Summerland.